So I was looking for inspiration for a knife, and I found this cool thing on YouTube. You get a spoon. I traced one and drew it and measured it, and then you're gonna fold it and cut off the edges so you can make a push dagger. So I made an example before I make the actual thing. It's kind of like a prototype sort of thing, except with paper and not with metal. So here's the spoon. You bend this out over here. It bends there. Then you fold this over here. Then you cut these off, which I'm just folding for now. Then you can sharpen the edge, and you have a push dagger made out of a spoon. I saw it on YouTube, and I thought that would be cool to make. I don't know if it'll actually work, but I'm gonna try it. So I have two different hammers. Regular hammer, I think it's like an 18-ounce or something, and then a sledgehammer, which I can use to flatten this spoon. So with this design that I made up, it says that you flatten it out. Well, I actually didn't put flatten it out because I figured that was pretty obvious to do. Well, maybe. And then you fold it, fold that, and cut it off, and then sharpen it. So the next step that I have to do is fold it. I'll have to make sure to get it the right measurement so that I can fit my finger in between it without smashing my hand here. So a slight problem. Don't know if it's zooming. Let's see. There we go. The spoon kind of broke off. So I'm gonna have to figure out. Maybe if I heat it up, I can kind of like melt it back together, sort of. But it's stainless steel, so it's gonna be pretty hard to get this to stay together. I may just wrap some wire around it to hold it into place and drill a hole into it. So I'll see what I can do about this part. Here we go. I'm going to turn the propane burner on. Turn this on. It's starting to release. You should. There we go. Should do that. Turn it up on high. Have my water here. This piece, we'll go ahead and just set this on here. That it heats up more than it did. Mainly just that little piece where your hand will be. And I'm going to put this in, on it, not in it. There we go. Now I'll just wait a minute. Or just a little bit though. Which is where I need it actually. But the handle isn't turning all the way red. So I'm going to go ahead and just quench the spoon part of the knife. And let that handle sit on there for a minute more while I quench this spoon. So, here we go. There we go. Spoon. I'm not sure if you could hear that, but it made a nice sizzling sound. There we go. I guess it's quenched. Pretty sure. I'll just set that back in there for a second. While this handle part heats up, it's turning quite red actually. Wow, that's beautiful. Look at that. It's nice and orange red. It's almost time to quench it. If you look at it, the burner's actually turning red here. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, but I guess it is. What I'm really trying to harden is this piece here. We'll go ahead and quench this. Well, it's now quenched, and I'm thinking I might just drill a tiny little hole into this. As you can see, it's not hot, even though I just did that a second ago. I'm gonna drill a little hole right into here so that it goes in there, and then I'll use some, like a piece of wire or something to attach it, wrap the wire around it and stuff. So it's actually much harder now that I quenched it, hence the name, hardening it. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill that hole. So I have my spoon here and the handle that came off, and my drill. I went ahead and put it's a pretty small bit. I'm not exactly sure what size it is. I'd have to go get my bit measure thing. So I'm just gonna use this one. I found this one. It's about the same size as the wire I'm gonna be using. You know, come to think of it, I probably should have drilled the hole and then hardened it. Or, yeah, drilled the hole and hardened it instead of hardening it and then drilling it. This might take some time. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip you to the drilled hole. So I finished it here. The wire's on it. Still a little bit loose. Not very much though, so it's pretty good. You might be thinking, wow, that looks extremely uncomfortable, like it would hurt. It doesn't. I hammered this down some, not even that much, so it's flatter, and I made sure none of the pointed parts, like right there, are sticking up, or they're under something, like there. So it's not comfortable. You shouldn't cut yourself if you're careful. But I'm also gonna wrap like rope, like a thin rope, twine, something like that. I might put cloth on it, or leather. I'm thinking about doing leather instead, but I'll do one of those. So I have my spoon here. I decided instead of trying to cut it and risk breaking off the handle again, I'm just going to grind it down so it's mostly pointed, then I'll sharpen it. So this knife didn't quite turn out how I expected it to, but it turned out pretty well. With this, you might think, oh, you're gonna make it all shiny. I decided I'm just gonna leave it kind of rough like that. It's supposed to be kind of rough. Well, not rough, but sort of like that. but it's actually pretty sharp. Let me grab a piece of paper. So, pretty sharp. I mean, I doubt you'll need this for paper cutting, but if you want to make one at home, you ought to try it. I'm going to go ahead and put the leather on it in a minute. Put the leather on here, then probably here so that it has a more comfortable grip. I mean, it's not uncomfortable, but I mean, it's a little bit rough right in here, so that leather will help it not be as rough there. So, almost done. So I finally finished it. I put the leather on the handle and actually made a case. I hadn't originally planned on doing this, but I made it because I had some leather. I got a whole bunch of leather scraps from this store, sadly closed, but it was a place where they had a whole bunch of just craft sort of things and stuff. So I got a bunch of leather on rings, like from the samples from the stores. They had those there, so I would buy those. So that's actually what these were made from. But I have a red handle here, just because that's the leather I had. It's two different types. This stuff is more like firm, and this stuff is more like cloth leather sort of thing, so it might not actually be leather. Don't actually know. But I made these two different types of leather, but I still like it, even if it has the two different types. I actually used hot glue because I tried sewing leather once by hand. It does not work easily. Don't ever try sewing leather by hand. It's one of the hardest things ever. But I added the belt piece so you can put it on your belt, hide it in your belt, put it this way so that it's on the inside of your belt, or you can put it on the outside. Doesn't really matter. But I'm gonna try making another one of these sometime. Make another one for each side. Get some spoons from the dollar store. So that's how this turned out. Don't forget, when I reach 100 subscribers, I'm going to do a knife giveaway. Comment down below what kind of knife I should make for the giveaway.